Welcome back to the 21st Century Man. You know we love to tackle those topics that might not always be at the top of your mind, but are super important for, well, being a 21st century man.
Absolutely.
And today we are diving deep
Yeah.
into chapter 54 of the book, which is all about, wait for it, protecting your skin.
Big topic.
It is a huge topic, and this chapter is jam-packed with insights from, let me make sure I get his name right. It's Dr. Adam Wallach, a dermatologist, and he really knows his stuff.
He does. I was so impressed by the depth of knowledge
Right.
in this chapter. It's not just like, use this product or that product. It's really going into the science of skin.
The why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why does our skin age? How do different products actually work? It's really fascinating.
And that's what we're going to unpack today. So our goal is to give you the need-to-know information from this chapter, kind of like a cheat sheet, if you will.
The Cliff Notes.
Yes, the Cliff Notes, but obviously, go read the full chapter. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Wallach, right off the bat, he lays out this fundamental idea that how our skin ages is this interplay between our genes, right? Like what we're born with, and then all the stuff our skin encounters in the world.
The environment.
Exactly, the environment. And he's like, look, the biggest thing we can actually control, besides what we eat and all that, is sun exposure.
Sun is so huge. And I think it's something that a lot of men especially don't really think about until they start seeing the effects,
Oh, the sunspots start popping up.
Yeah, the wrinkles, the uneven skin tone. And then it's like, oh, maybe I should have been wearing sunscreen all those years.
So he breaks down the skin, like literally is like, okay, let's look at the three main layers.
Hmm.
You've got the epidermis, which is that outer layer.
Right.
Then you've got the dermis, which is kind of like the middle layer. And then you got the subcutis, which is the deepest layer.
It's like the foundations.
Yes. And he really focuses on the dermis because that's where all the good stuff is, the collagen and elastin.
That's where the magic happens.
Yes, exactly. And he's like, this is what gives our skin, like, its structure, its ability to, bounce back and all that jazz. But he's like, when we get sun damage, UV radiation, it basically fries those proteins.
It's like, imagine taking a rubber band and leaving it out in the sun for too long. Yeah. What happens? It gets all brittle and loses its stretchiness.
It snaps.
Yeah. That's basically what's happening to our skin with all that sun exposure.
So not good. So wear sunscreen, folks. Now, the epidermis, right, that outer layer, I thought it was just like, I don't know, like a shield, but it's actually way more important than that.
It does a lot. So it acts as a barrier, keeping all the good stuff in, like moisture and all the bad stuff out, like, pollutants and bacteria.
Yeah.
But Dr. Wallach explains that as we age and with all that sun exposure, this barrier starts to weaken.
And then we get dry skin, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then we also get all those pigmentation issues, those age spots, uneven skin tone. And it can just make the skin look, well, older.
Not the look we're going for. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Wallach goes even deeper. He talks about the facial bones, like the bones underneath our skin. I never even thought about those.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about what's going on under the surface, right?
Yeah.
But he points out that as we age, we actually lose bone volume in our faces. And this loss of structure, it contributes to those changes we see in our facial contours over time. Like, things start to sag a little bit more.
It's all connected. Now, let's talk about the differences between men and women's skin, because apparently it's not all the same.
There are some interesting differences. So Dr. Wallach points out that, generally speaking, male skin tends to be thicker than female skin.
Is that because we're tougher?
Well, he attributes it to a couple things. First, men tend to have more, how do I put this, delicately robust hair follicles.
Oh, like thicker hair.
Yeah, exactly. And those thicker hairs, those follicles, actually contribute to the overall thickness of the skin. Plus, we produce more sebum.
Sebum, that's the oil, right?
Exactly. And because of that, our skin might age a bit slower, at least initially, and we might not need to moisturize as much, especially when we're younger.
See, there are some perks to being a guy. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty of protecting our skin. And Dr. Wallach really dives deep into sunscreen and sunblock.
Yes, and he starts by clearing up the confusion between the two, because a lot of people use the terms interchangeably.
I'm one of those people.
But there is a difference. So sunblocks, think of them as a physical barrier. They literally block UV rays from reaching your skin. They contain ingredients like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, which, are minerals.
And those are often the ones that are recommended for sensitive skin, right?
Because they're less likely to cause irritation. Sunscreens, on the other hand, work more by absorbing UV radiation and converting it into heat.
So they're more like a chemical process.
Precisely. And most of the products you see on the shelves these days are actually a combination of both physical blockers and chemical absorbers.
So you get the best of both worlds. Now, Dr. Wallach acknowledges that there isn't like this mountain of scientific evidence that definitively proves sunscreen directly prevents premature aging or skin cancer in humans, like in huge long-term studies.
It's true. Those studies are really hard to do, especially long term.
But he makes a very logical argument, right? He's like, look, we know UV radiation damages the DNA in our skin cells, which can lead to skin cancer. And we know it breaks down collagen and elastin, which leads to aging.
So it stands to reason that if you block or absorb those harmful UV rays, you're going to reduce the risk of both.
Exactly. It's like you wear a helmet to protect your head from injury, you wear sunscreen to protect your skin from damage.
It's a preventative measure.
Now, he really hammers this point home. Daily use, people. Like, make it a habit.
It has to be part of your routine.
But he gets it. Like, a lot of guys, myself included, we don't always think about it, or we think, oh, it's cloudy today, I don't need it, or I'm just running out for a quick errand.
Excuses, excuses.
So he gives us some really good tips for making it a habit. First of all, find a product you actually like.
This is so crucial. Because if you hate the way it feels, you're not going to use it.
Exactly. You know, some sunscreens can be greasy, or they leave a white cast, or they smell weird.
You got to find one that works for you. And he suggests, try out a couple of different ones. Maybe, use one on one side of your face, another on the other side, see how they feel, how they look.
Like a little science experiment?
Exactly. And remember, different skin types need different products. So if you get oily skin, look for something oil-free. If you've got dry skin, look for something more hydrating.
And he even recommends, if you're really not sure, go see a dermatologist. A lot of them have samples you can try.
They're a great resource.
Okay, next tip for making sunscreen a habit, keep it by your bathroom sink.
Like right there next to your toothbrush.
So you see it every morning, you're like, oh, right, sunscreen.
It becomes part of your routine.
And he even walks us through his preferred method of application, which he calls the dotting method. Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah. It's actually a really good way to make sure you're getting even coverage.
So he says, put 2 pumps in your hand and then dot it all over your face, like, forehead, cheeks, nose, chin.
Don't forget your ears and your neck. Those areas get a lot of sun exposure too.
And then just rub it all in.
Gently. You don't want to be too rough with your skin.
And the key is do this every single day, at least on your face, no matter the weather, no matter what you're doing.
Rain or shine, sunscreen every time.
All right, let's talk SPF. Dr. Wallach recommends SPF 30 to 50. He actually says to avoid anything higher than 50 because the added benefit is minimal, and those high SPF formulas can be really thick and heavy.
They don't feel as nice on the skin. And he makes this really important point that most of us aren't actually getting the full SPF protection listed on the bottle.
Like we're not applying enough or what?
Yeah, that's part of it. He says we often don't apply enough, and we might not be applying it evenly. And then, you sweat, you rub your face, the sunscreen wears off. So he estimates that in real-world use, you're probably only getting about half the SPF protection you think you are.
Oh, that's good to know. So maybe, if you think you need SPF 30, go for 50, just to be safe.
That's a good strategy.
And reapplication is key, right? He says every 2 hours, and definitely after swimming or sweating, even if it says water resistant.
Water resistant doesn't mean waterproof.
Uh-huh.
And even water resistant formulas, they lose their effectiveness over time.
Good to know. And he's also very clear that sunscreen is just one part of a sun protection strategy.
You've got to use other methods too, like seeking shade, wearing a hat, sunglasses, all of that good stuff.
And don't forget about your lips.
Lip balm with SPF is your friend.
Now let's talk about ingredients, because I know a lot of people are concerned about, all the chemicals in sunscreen and whether they're absorbed into our bodies.
It's a valid concern. And Dr. Wallach acknowledges that, yes, some ingredients are absorbed, but he emphasizes that at the levels they're absorbed, there's no strong scientific evidence to suggest they're harmful.
So basically, the benefits of using sunscreen far outweigh any potential risks from the ingredients.
That's the current thinking, based on the available evidence. However, he does advise being cautious with one ingredient in particular, oxybenzone.
Oxybenzone, okay. And why is that?
Well, there have been some animal studies that have raised concerns, and it's also known to be harmful to coral reefs, which is why it's been banned in some places.
So maybe err on the side of caution and avoid that one. What about vitamin D? Because I know some people are worried that if they wear sunscreen all the time, they won't get enough vitamin D.
It's a common concern. But Dr. Wallach recommends getting your vitamin D from other sources, like food or supplements.
So eat your salmon and take your vitamin D, and you'll be good to go. All right, moving on to moisturizers. Dr. Wallach clarifies that moisturizers don't actually add moisture to your skin,
Right. It's kind of a misnomer.
but they help your skin retain moisture.
Exactly. And they do that by, smoothing the skin surface, attracting and holding on to water that's already there, and creating a protective barrier to prevent water loss.
So when's the best time to apply moisturizer?
He recommends applying it right after you shower or bathe while your skin is still damp. That way you're trapping in that moisture. And he suggests if you live in a sunny climate and you shower in the morning, you can actually just use a sunblock that has a moisturizer built in.
Two birds, one stone.
Exactly.
Now, with moisturizers, it really comes down to personal preference, right?
It does. You have to find one that feels good on your skin, that doesn't make you feel greasy or sticky. And he even suggests, try out your partner's moisturizer, see how it feels.
Steal a little dab.
Yeah, exactly. And if your skin still feels dry after using a moisturizer, it might be that it's not rich enough or it's not doing a good job of preventing water loss.
So you might need something heavier.
Exactly.
He talks about how a lot of men prefer oil-free moisturizers, the ones that are silicone-based.
Those tend to feel lighter and less greasy.
And he also gives a shout out to good old Vaseline.
Or Aquaphor. He's a big fan of those.
He says they're like the most basic, affordable, and effective way to prevent water loss.
Just use a little bit, though, because little goes a long way.
Okay, cleansers. What does he say about those?
He's all about keeping it simple. He says use whatever feels good on your skin, doesn't leave it feeling tight or dry. And because men tend to have oilier skin, a lot of us can actually get away with using regular bar soap.
Just don't go overboard, right?
Exactly. Don't overwash or scrub too hard. That can strip away your skin's natural oils and actually make it produce more oil to compensate.
That backfires.
It does. And if you've got dry or sensitive skin, he suggests using a gentle lipid-free cleanser. There are a bunch of those out there.
Okay, let's move on to the land of hype and marketing. Anti-aging creams.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
And Dr. Wallach, he's pretty skeptical. He's like, look, there's this multi-billion-dollar industry built around these creams, but a lot of them don't actually live up to the hype.
They might feel good on your skin, and they might be hydrating, but they're not necessarily doing anything to actually reverse aging.
So you're basically paying for a fancy moisturizer.
In a lot of cases, yes.
He specifically calls out peptides. Those are marketed as like topical Botox.
Right. The idea is that they can relax the muscles that cause wrinkles, but Dr. Wallach says there's no real evidence to support that claim.
And he also talks about Matrixol, which is supposed to boost collagen production.
Yeah, he's not buying it.
So the problem is a lot of these creams, they don't have to go through the same rigorous testing as, prescription drugs.
Exactly. They don't have to prove that they actually work.
So it's buyer beware. However, there are a couple of topical ingredients that Dr. Wallach does find promising.
Vitamin C.
Vitamin C, tell us about that.
So vitamin C, we all know it's good for our immune system, but it's also really good for our skin.
Yeah.
It's essential for collagen production, it helps with wound healing, and it might even play a role in DNA repair.
And it's an antioxidant, right?
Yes. It helps to protect your skin from damage caused by free radicals, which are these unstable molecules that can damage your cells.
Like from pollution and sun exposure.
Exactly. And he recommends using a vitamin C serum that has at least a 10% concentration of L-ascorbic acid, which is the active form of vitamin C.
Okay, so look for L-ascorbic acid on the label.
And he says you can also find products that combine vitamin C and vitamin E, which can be even more effective because they work together synergistically.
Nice. He also talks about stem cell growth factors.
This is a newer area of research, but it's pretty exciting. So these creams contain proteins that are derived from stem cells.
Stem cells, those are like the master cells that can become any other type of cell, right?
Exactly. And the theory is that these proteins can help to stimulate the growth of new skin cells and collagen.
So it's kind of like giving your skin a boost of youthfulness.
It's the fountain of youth. But he cautions that this is still a relatively new area and more research needs to be done.
So stay tuned. All right, let's move on to something with a bit more scientific backing. Retinoids.
These are the gold standard for anti-aging skincare.
And they're derived from vitamin A, right?
Exactly. And the most well-studied retinoid is tretinoin, which is available by prescription.
That's the one in Retin-A.
Yes. And Dr. Wallach says it's been proven to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, fade hyperpigmentation, and improves skin tone and texture.
How does it work?
So retinoids, they basically speed up cell turnover, which means they help your skin get rid of those old damaged cells and replace them with new healthy cells.
It's like exfoliation on steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. And they also stimulate collagen production, which helps to plump up the skin and reduce wrinkles.
It's a multitasker.
It is. And if you're new to retinoids, he suggests starting with a milder form, like retinol or retinaldehyde, which are available over the counter.
Start slow and then work your way up.
And always apply retinoids at night because they can make your skin more sensitive to the sun.
Okay, now for a more serious topic, skin cancer.
This is something we all need to be aware of.
And the good news is that most skin cancers are highly treatable, especially if they're caught early.
Early detection is key.
So Dr. Wallach goes through the different types of skin cancer. The most common one is basal cell carcinoma.
That one tends to grow slowly, and it might look like a pimple that doesn't go away or a red bump that bleeds easily.
And the next most common is squamous cell carcinoma.
That one often looks like a scaly red patch or a raised growth.
And both of those are usually pretty easy to treat, but they can be more serious if they're not caught early.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to see a dermatologist if you notice anything suspicious.
Then there's melanoma, which is the most serious type of skin cancer.
That one can spread more quickly to other parts of the body.
And it can be harder to treat.
So if you have any unusual moles or spots, especially if they're changing in size, shape, or color, get them checked out by a dermatologist right away.
Dr. Wallach really emphasizes the importance of regular skin checks, both by yourself and by a dermatologist.
Especially if you have a family history of skin cancer or if you've had a lot of sun exposure in the past.
And he suggests doing a self-exam once a month. Just look over your body, check for any new moles or any changes in existing moles.
Use a mirror to check those hard-to-see spots.
And he says it's not just about looking for the ABCDEs of melanoma, asymmetry, border irregularity, color variation, diameter evolving.
He says it's more about knowing your own skin and noticing if anything looks different or out of place.
Like a lone wolf mole.
Exactly. If anything seems off, don't hesitate to get it checked out.
And he's not a big fan of those skin cancer apps.
He says they can be misleading. It's always best to see a real doctor.
Now, let's talk about something a little more fun. Cosmetic procedures.
Because why not look your best?
And Dr. Wallach says more and more men are getting these procedures done.
It's not just for women anymore.
And he emphasizes that for men, the key is to go for a natural look.
Nobody wants to look like they've had a ton of work done.
So he talks about Botox.
Which is basically a toxin that temporarily paralyzes muscles.
So it can smooth out wrinkles.
Exactly. It's really effective for those frown lines between your eyebrows, crow's feet around your eyes, and forehead wrinkles.
And it's been around for a long time, so it's pretty safe.
And the results are temporary, so if you don't like it, you can just wait it out.
Then there are fillers.
Which are basically substances that are injected into the skin to plump it up.
So they can fill in wrinkles and add volume.
Exactly. And the most popular fillers these days are made from hyaluronic acid, which is a substance that's naturally found in our bodies.
So it's pretty safe.
And the results last for several months.
He also mentions a bunch of other procedures, like lasers for treating blood vessels and sunspots.
And microneedling, which creates tiny punctures in the skin to stimulate collagen production.
And cool sculpting for freezing away fat.
There's a whole menu of options.
So if you're considering a cosmetic procedure, Dr. Wallach recommends finding a doctor who specializes in men's aesthetics.
Someone who understands the male face and can give you a natural-looking result.
All right, so to wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway from this chapter is that taking care of your skin is an investment.
It's an investment in your health and your appearance.
And it's not just about vanity. It's about protecting yourself from skin cancer and premature aging.
And it's never too late to start.
Even if you've been neglecting your skin for years, you can still make a difference.
Absolutely. Start with the basics. Daily sunscreen, a good moisturizer, and a gentle cleanser.
And if you have any concerns, see a dermatologist.
They can help you create a personalized skincare plan.
Dr. Wallach's book is a great resource for learning more about how to protect and care for your skin.
It's packed with evidence-based advice and practical tips.
We highly recommend checking it out.
You won't regret it.
And join us next time on the 21st Century Man podcast as we delve into Chapter 55, which is all about removing unwanted body hair.
That should be interesting.
Until next time, take care of yourselves.
And your skin.